It's as short and brief as possible. On my left, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Jim Ward. I'm the head coach of the Black Knights.
Sorry.
I'm Jim Ward. I'm the head coach of the Black Knights.
Anton Kjellvik, middle linebacker, Örebro Black Knights.
Doug Adkins, coach of the Crusaders.
Anders Hermodsson, quarterback, Karlstad Crusaders.
Because of the head coach speaking English, I think we'll have this press conference in English. And we also have Marcus Magnell, who's in charge for the World Championship 2015. And Marcus, will you please step forward and tell us a little about the status right now about the championship?
I sure will. Interesting to have this press conference in English, but with all due respect, we continue to do that, obviously. Exciting to be here at Tele2 Arena. First time for this sport to have in Sweden to have such a great facility. We're excited to be able to show our sport from this angle. As far as the World Championship, this is one step in that direction, obviously, with the Swedish Championship being held here, and we're just about to get started and building an interest, building availability, really, and I think we're doing a good job with these two teams. For these two senior teams, I should say, that will play here Saturday night, and it's going to be an exciting day for American football, period. And I think that's a good start, even also for the World Championship.
July 2015 sounds like far away, but it's not. How calm is you right now when it comes to the championship?
Well, it's all. I'm pretty calm, thank you. But you're absolutely right. I mean, we have partners with us: Tele2, Stockholm Globe Arenas, Rica Hotels, SJ, and I think I mentioned Tele2, obviously. So, and that's key right there. I mean, we need to be, commercially professional, and we need to be well organized. And I think we're heading in the right direction.
So, what can the audience look forward to 2015?
Well, it's. I think this sport is all about. Obviously physical strength and great coaching and everything, but it's passion driven, a lot of heart, enthusiasm, and it's an event, really, if you look at it from my perspective. So expectations should be high when it comes to not only what's the performance on the field, but also off the field. And I think with having this Tele2 Arena as being the main position, if you will, for the sport itself and for the event, obviously with a lot of help from the organization behind the Globe Arenas, we need to build a super professional event, and that's going to be the key.
So thank you very much. Any fact and figures you want to mention now when it comes to the expectations about the championship?
Well, we'll have to wait and see 2015, and it's a long road ahead of us, and we're just excited to have started that walk.
Thank you. Marcus will be here all the time, of course, so he can ask questions afterwards. Okay, let's summon up the season. Jim Ward, how happy are you right now?
Well, obviously we're very pleased to be in the final. We had some adversity during the season, but our guys have stayed together, and they're convinced that they can win games and win those games that maybe other people don't think they can win. And so I think, it's not always in football, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So that's the way we look at it.
And compared to your expectations before the season?
Well, as I said in the beginning press conference, our expectation was to was to win the championship. That was our goal. Of course, we'd have liked to have won more regular season games, but once you're in the playoffs, all that goes out the window. It doesn't matter. And so that's the way we looked at it. That's the way we approached the semifinal. That's the way we'll approach the final.
Anton, how satisfied are you with your own season?
I would say that I've had a great season. I started out on offense and I got plucked out to the defensive side of the football. And basically everything I can do to help out my team makes me satisfied. And as a team, we've come a long way from first practice. And Coach been echoing in our heads all season long. It's all about the finals. Got to go win the gold medal. And through thick and thin, we've survived. And I think we played our best game this far, and I think I played my best game this far in the semifinals against Tyresö.
I read you used to live in Norrköping and traveled to Örebro just to both practice and play. Is it still so?
That is not the case right now. For the first 1.5 season, me and some other guys traveled from Norrköping to Örebro just to play football. But then during last season, me and my fiance moved to Örebro. So now I'm stationed close to my team, and that's how I want it to be.
So how many miles did you travel to because of the passion to the sport?
Well, say that's about 300 kilometers of practice 3 times a week during a span of 5 to 6 months. So if you're a math guy, you can calculate that. But I just sum it up as a lot.
Okay, Dag, your season. How happy are you now?
Well, I'd say relieved would be the more adequate answer. I think everybody kind of expected us to be in the finals, and we kind of hit a little hiccup there and got some players hurt, and finally getting our team back close to full strength, and so very relieved, very pleased at, obviously our victory last weekend, and very anxious to get our team back on the field with all our players. I think we probably lost maybe 5 or 6 starters during the course of the season, and now we're slowly getting them back, and it's great to have our quarterback and our leader back. So, I would say relieved and happy to be here and look forward to the game.
You were beaten by the 86ers in the series. So what did you think, and what was your strategy when you went to Uppsala this Sunday?
Well, first thing, we turned up the tempo in practice. We kind of took it to a different level. We did a lot more good-on-good work. We did a lot more trying to get the energy level. We felt that the last game against Uppsala, our energy level was really low. So we wanted to try to get, our tempo has always been fast, but our energy level has not been as fast. So we wanted to play fast in that game, get our energy up, and most of all, get our spirits going. I think our guys believed, and I know the coaches did, from the day we stepped on the field after our last game, getting in the playoffs, that we were going to win. And I think that made a big factor in the game. So, the emotions were there, the energy was there, and it hadn't been for about 2 or 3 weeks. And it also helped to have him back healthy. I'm not going to lie. So, there was a lot more energy, a lot more enthusiasm from our players.
81 points in the semifinal. How is that possible?
Well, they stopped us once. I don't know how it's possible. Our offense was just clicking on all cylinders. It really was. We were very proud of our offensive line, and obviously, our offensive unit has scored a lot of points all year long. So, I think we had one more when we had 82. So, it's hard to believe that we scored 82. And some of my friends at home asked me if it was a football game or was I coaching basketball. So, it's a lot of points.
So, what's your feelings regarding Saturday's final?
Well, obviously, number one, excited to be here, excited for the game. It's a great opportunity to play in this fabulous stadium. So we're excited to be here. That's obviously we're going in the game with we want to win. We're going in with the belief we're going to win. I think Jim would say the same thing. If you're coaching, you don't say you're going to win the game, then you got something wrong. But we're excited to be here, and frankly, I wish we could play tomorrow so we get this thing going. So, but no, we're really looking forward to it. We got couple more days of hard practice, and then we'll come down.
Anders, eventually you moved to Karlstad to play for the Crusaders. Do you regret yourself, or are you happy now?
Well, right now I'm pretty happy. It's been a great season so far. Great. Right now it's the second year, so 2 years of football, and we won it last year, and well, I'll be really happy if we can win it this year too.
If you would sum up your own season?
I thought it was started out pretty well. I feel like I've always gotten a little bit better and better for every game. But then the little hiccup with the injury against Örebro, and then I missed a couple of games, which was tough being out and looking at the team and seeing when we lost against Uppsala. It was really hard to just be on the sidelines then, but it feels good to be back.
Have you felt the pressure in a negative way this season?
No, you always feel a little bit of pressure, but that just makes you work harder and try to prepare yourself better so you don't really succumb to it. But there's really I haven't really felt any negative from it.
Thank you. So, any questions from the floor? Yes.
Yes. What does it mean for the sports coming into a big arena like this?
Well, I think anything like this that promotes the sport as professional and top-notch is huge for Sweden and American football. You know, this makes a really big difference in the minds of people, that when you play in a facility like this and you have this kind of contest, it really promotes the sport, and that's what you want to try to do, is get it in people's minds that it is a major sport. And of course, you know, being from the United States, football is king, as we call football, and of course, you know, football in Europe, as we call soccer, is king. So, you know, it's kind of a different deal, but I think it's really a great thing to promote it this way.
You know, my big thing is for the players. It's kind of like a dream. I know all year our players have talked about the opportunity to play here, and it's something that as a player you always dream about. You want to play in the biggest stage possible, and you know, all they can talk about is coming to play in this stadium and getting to play for the championship. So for the players, I look at it as a great opportunity and kind of dream and kind of fulfillment of their goals on both teams.
With your coaching experience from the United States and advice to the federation, how can you build an interest or a bigger interest for American football in Sweden?
Well, you know, I look at what the club has done in Örebro with their promotions. You know, several years ago, obviously, they worked to get our games at Bern Arena, which again does the same thing that it does playing here. It's a big facility. It's professional, you know, and the club really worked hard to do that. And I think, you know, you really have to push that along with everything else that goes with it in promoting the sport. You know, a lot of people don't understand the sport, so you have to get that out there. And, you know, the more they can see American football, whether it's on television or on the internet, I think that also helps. But it's, you know, a way of getting it out there.
The biggest thing, it seems to me, having coached in the Austrian league, is it's got to be developed more from the grassroots down. Every club needs to develop feeding programs where they start with the little kids and they build up more and more and try to get the numbers up. The more people you involve in the game, be it cheerleaders, players, parents, whatever, the greater exposure, the greater number of people are going to be involved. And you know, the one thing that I see is that they've got, and I know I'm speaking for ourselves, is you got to build it from the bottom. You've got to, so every year you have a gradual uptake of players coming from each level, and it's got to start at the very smallest level, and the smallest level obviously requires the most numbers. So, you know, I think that's the biggest thing that I see to kind of take it to the next level. And certainly moving the championship game to arena like this, the exposure will become, you know, twice as much. So I think that's a big step. But it's got to be a grassroots, gradual build. So every year there's a new group of players coming in and in.
So how important for building the sport in Sweden is the championship 2015? Well,
that's a huge deal for any place, you know, whether it's this city or the country of Sweden to have the championships is, I think it's going to be great for the sport. You know, it really gives. It's kind of like having the World Cup. You know, you're really doing something, and I think it really promotes it.
Yeah, I agree with Jim totally. You know, it's more exposure. The more people that see the game, enjoy the game, and have a good time, they're liable to come back. The interest will be generated. You know, so it's a step into just getting it out to the public, let the people see it. Because, you know, as football coaches, we think once they watch a game, they're going to think, wow, this is really cool. I don't want to say it's a lot more exciting than other things, but, you know, it's a great game. And then once the people start seeing it, and the bigger the scale gets, and this certainly is a very huge step, it will make a big difference on the attitude towards the game.
So let's talk about Saturday, Anton. What has to work out to beat the Crusaders on Saturday?
We gotta play our best game of the whole season, and everybody knows that. And that means that we gotta have the best practices from the whole season. And we got everybody down at practice. You know, we're practicing hard, practicing tough. We gotta eat right, we gotta sleep right, and we gotta come here, you know, with an attitude that's, you know, with a real badass attitude. We gotta know in our heads that we gotta win this pre-game. You know, we gotta come here and we just gotta hand it to them. And that's the mentality we've been working on all week. You know, through practices, film, all kinds of.
Lost twice against them in the series. What does that mean on Saturday? How much will you think about it?
That means third time's a charm. But, you know, we know these guys. We've been playing, we've been facing them the last 2 years as well. I mean, for the last 6 games, they 6-0 against us. So it's about time to change that up. But we know what they're doing, and I mean, they have we got to hand it to them. They're the best team in Sweden that have been for the last year. So this is, I mean, if there's going to be any change to that, we gotta make that happen.
Anders, what do you fear most about Örebro Black Knights?
Right now, I think it's their success they had last week. So they're gonna come in, guns blazing, and just try to take it from us. So that's what I fear. Their mentality right now is one we really want.
As you consider, what's your biggest strength in the team right now?
Right now, it's the guys up front, the O-line. They're playing the last game is basically their best game of the season, and when they play that well, then our running game clicks and our passing game clicks, and
Okay, more questions from the floor?
So in your scouting this week, obviously I'm sure you're not going to say too much, but what have you felt you need to adjust in your own team?
Well, I mean, you look at Karlstad in the semifinal, you couldn't help but be impressed. I mean, it's one of the darndest games I've ever watched. You know, I mean, not only did they not get stopped, they didn't even get slowed down most of the time. So obviously our focus, not our only focus, but we've got to focus on getting some stops, you know, with their offense. We've got to get them off the field. And so, you know, we're working hard to do that. And, of course, we've got to maintain some ball control on offense as well as score. But, you know, we've got to keep the ball away from them. And that's, you know, that's what we've got to work on.
Do you feel like that game was like one-off, or is that the pace you think they would have?
Well, the reason the pace was like that was twofold. Number one, the Uppsala's defense didn't stop them, and number two, not only was Karlstad's offense going fast, so were the 86ers. So you've got there, I think, in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, it was 3 touchdowns in less than a minute. You know, of course, that would not be advantageous to us, obviously. Okay, I mean, we'll up tempo our offense some, but that's not our basic style, and so we've got to make them play our game, not play theirs.
But do you think that game is relevant for your scouting?
Well, it's relevant in that, you know, the things they were doing, they did really well. You know, it's like I say, it's one of the, you know, the darndest playoff games or any game I've watched. I mean, it was really a remarkable performance by their offense. And, you know, that's, like I say, you got to be impressed, and you've got to figure out how to slow them down.
Like the defense coach would be crying if they were there.
That was not a defensive coach's dream, that game, no.
You know, well, obviously, just kind of the opposite of what he said. You know, we've got to keep our offensive tempo going, and you know that's one of the things that has been so strong for us. And you know, we feel we're a pretty good offensive football team. We've scored a lot of points. You know, and my son's the offensive coordinator, so he tells me every night that we're pretty good on offense, and we scored a lot of points, and we're giving up a lot of points. So, you know, the big thing for us is to keep our tempo offense going, to try to run as many plays as rapidly as we can. You know, and obviously that lengthens the game a little bit when we score a lot. It puts a lot of pressure on our special teams. And, you know, defensively we have to play better, batch up a little better with them than we did with Uppsala. And so we've got to tackle better, play a lot better coverage. You know, we just got to come out and play a good game. Just like, you know, his statement was pretty true. Both teams have to play the best game they played all year. And in the championship game, you kind of expect that. So, you know, our goal is to go out and play every play as hard as we can. We don't talk too much about anything other than both sides of the ball playing that last play as hard as you possibly can.
What have you adjusted with regards that it's the Black Knights on the other side?
You know, obviously, you know, we've made some changes in our offensive and defensive game plan. You know, other than that, you know, we make some subtle changes, but you've got to kind of do with the things that brought you there. And then, you know, obviously in offense, it's a fast tempo, and defense, it's letting them score quickly so we can get our offense back on the field. So, you know, that really isn't our plan, but sometimes, unfortunately, it works that way. So, you know, we're making some subtle adjustments, but I'm sure that Jim wouldn't want to know them now. So, does that answer your question? Okay.
So, Anton, how good will you sleep between Friday and Saturday?
I gotta sleep like a baby because I gotta come out hard on Saturday. So I will go to bed early. I will get a good night's sleep. I'll get the best breakfast of my life, and I will be ready when kickoff comes.
I mean, there'll probably be some pre-game jitters there when you go to sleep, but I'm a pretty hard sleeper, so I don't think it's going to be a problem.
So, any more questions? Anything you want to say?
How many spectators on average do you have in an average game or match?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Örebro is the attendance leader in the Super Series as far as fan attendance, and I believe we were averaging between 1,200 and 1,500 per game, home game. I'm not sure what the top attendance was this year. 1,640. Anton knows exactly. So you know, the attendance has been really good. I know our first game against Karlstad we had a good crowd, obviously, and Karlstad brought people, and it was a really good atmosphere. And so, yeah, they really are getting into it in Örebro.
I'll have Anders answer this one.
I think we've been averaging around 500 people at the games, but we started out the season with 1,800 against Uppsala. So we might have a little bit higher average than 500, maybe like 700, 800. Because it dipped after the Uppsala game, who we had like a charity game for a young cancer, but then after it dipped to like 500 per game. So Uppsala game was top of the high, 1,800.
So Marcus, how many spectators do you expect from the World Championship?
I know for a fact that we have a little bit more than 1,500 tickets sold up until today, and I guess 3,000 is probably a number that we're gonna see on the Saturday. And again, this is the first step out of many steps that we need to take to build an interest, like the coaches and the players are talking about here. So it's good for now, and we have. I mean, they're going to broadcast the game on Saturday night, TV4 Sport. And I mean, there are several steps being taken at the same time here to make things better. So, and good luck to those two teams here representing.
So, finished. Time for one-to-one interviews and for photos of Anton and Anders. We have to... Yeah, of course.
Well, I guess I got to run fast. And I got to run through the best offensive line in Sweden. So hopefully coach will have me prepared when kickoff start. It'll be a hard job chasing him down. He's both big and fast. Got much respect for Anders as both a person and a player. But I'll come at him guns blazing.
How many sacks have you had this season?
I've had 2 this season. Then again, I'm not really the blitzing linebacker, so.
And Anders, what do you think about the linebackers on defensive line?
They're definitely top quality defensive line linebackers. They play hard every snap, and I respect them for sure. But they're not gonna catch me this game.
Great. Thank you. Är det någon som vill ha Anders och Anton speciellt nu, eller kan vi ta väga på fotografering?